Okay, g'day guys, welcome once again to the Tripod where we break down every single NRL game every week from a betting perspective. This is our third try going live tonight, so if you've stuck with us through the first two tries, thank you very much for your persistence. If you remember us from multiple years ago, 2-3 years ago when we were dropboxing this shit, we'd have technical difficulties all the time. So hopefully Jacob's fixed those now. We'll see if he has fixed it. Maybe you can just say something, Jacob, just so we know you're there, and we'll see if anyone else can hear it. Please, if you can hear Jacob, please comment. No one can hear you. No one can hear you. Should I just roll with this one? All right. You don't have to sit there because it'll be very strange if you're sitting there and no one can actually hear you. If anyone, all right, we're just gonna roll without Jacob. Yeah, someone said pull your head in, cunts. He's not wrong. We should be better than this. We don't pretend to be, professionals at the technology side of things. Get the fuck away from the microphone, Sakab. You are crinkling my life up. It's static in my ear. All right, Jacob's gone, and we are going to keep rolling here. If anyone has some sort of technology background and can, Jacob, so if you see the comments in time, someone saying, get a pen and paper, you can be one of those, one of those guys that writes the fucking, the things on the bits of cardboard and then flips them around. But yeah, if anyone in there is like an IT guru or, can help us in any way, please hit us up because it is very strange. The last couple of weeks, I have been able to hear Jacob perfectly fine and no one has been able to hear him on the Facebook live feed, which seems very strange to me, but it might be an easy fix for someone out there that has some sort of technology acumen. All right, let's go. Thursday night, an absolute cracker. Rabbits plus 4.5 hosting the Roosters, a total of 40.5 points. We've been saying this for a couple of weeks in regards to the teams like the Storm, and now the Roosters. They're locked into that second spot. They can't get caught by third and fourth, and they can't overtake the Storm. So really, what are they playing for here? We spoke about this with Jacob earlier. We do think that, they're rolling nicely into the playoffs, and sometimes it's one of those ones where, you say, do you want to rest your players, going into finals and keep them healthy? Or do you want to, get that cohesion and that chemistry going? And it looks like the Roosters are going for that route because they have named Boyd Cordner, who's been out for a few weeks now. They could have easily just rested him for another week leading into finals. And they have named Cooper Cronk. So they're fielding a full-strength team here and a very scary team that's building nicely towards the finals. On the other front, we've got a Rabbits team that is desperate here. The Rabbits team does need to win, and they will want to win. They're at home, they're catching 4.5 points, and they have to win to stay in the top four. If they lose, there is a chance that they can fall out of the top four, and obviously, as we know, it is very, very difficult to win the comp from outside the top four. So as of now, we don't have any best bets on this game. We were searching around for a Roosters minus 3.5. If we found it, we would have pulled the trigger. But unfortunately, there wasn't any out in the marketplace. So we're going to leave the game for now. But we do think that Roosters are going to give 100% effort here, having named a full-strength team. So it's one of those ones where you don't really love to go against the Roosters at full strength when they want to win. Next game, Friday, early game, we have the Eels laying 4 points hosting Manly. 38.5 points is the total. Going to be fine weather down there, a little bit windy. Obviously, the bad news out of Manly camp is that Tommy Turbo is out for the foreseeable future, and it looks like he is going to miss their entire finals campaign. Jack Gajeski is out as well, so Manly not fielding a full-strength team here. Now, this is an interesting game because, the Eels, they don't actually need this game. They're locked into a 5 or 6 spot, and they can't move up or down from there. However, it looks a little bit different for this Manly team. And if you look at the ladder, if the Rabbits win on Thursday night, then Manly can't make the top 4. So they wouldn't care that much about this game, or they would care less anyway. But if the Roosters do beat the Rabbits on Thursday night, then Manly can actually sneak into the top 4, which would be massive for them. So, look, we don't have a best bet on this game at the moment, but keep your ears peeled, because depending on the Thursday night result, we may have a play on Manly, and we may have a play on the Eels, because I do think that if both of these teams have basically nothing to play for in this Friday game, then I would back the Eels to cover the number at home. Next up, this is, and I don't say this often, and I noticed that Jacob has joined us in the comments. Jacob, welcome. Hopefully your comments are actually coming through all right. I can read them, so that's a good sign. This, I don't say this often, this is one of the locks of the fucking year for me. I did not have to talk Jacob into this, but this is one of my favourite plays of the entire round, let alone the entire year. I absolutely love this play. The Storm are -14, hosting the Cowboys. The total is 38.5 points. As we know, the Storm have the number 1 seed locked up, and they've chosen this week to rest a number of key players. Munster out, Brandon Smith out, Josh Adokar out. So we know, the Storm aren't coming in here to blow the Cowboys off the park. The Cowboys get back Josh Maguire, which is a boost to their forward pack, but he does some dumb shit as well. Look, it's going to be raining from tomorrow onwards until about Sunday in Melbourne. And that makes me fairly confident that it's going to be raining during the game. There's rain forecast, for basically the whole day on Friday and throughout the night and throughout Saturday. I'm very confident that it's going to rain in this one. If it does, I absolutely love this bet. If it doesn't, I still love the under in this one. We've got the Storm players who are resting guys. They're not going to try and blow the Cowboys off the park, especially in wet conditions. And we know what the Cowboys are. They're not going to give up in this one, I think. They're playing the Storm, in the last game of the season. The Storm beat them in a pretty close game, I think back in round 4 or round 5. So I don't see the Cowboys giving up. And we know that the Cowboys struggle to score points. Every game that they've been close in or won has been a low-scoring arm wrestle game. I can't see either team getting to 20 in this one. I think the Storm are just going to do enough to win. And even if they're down, they're not going to chase points like maniacs and try and injure themselves. So I love the under. It's one of my favorite bets of the entire year. And we've got 2 bets on it at the moment. We're taking under 39.5 for the game. That's $1.95 on Sportsbet in the other markets. And we're going to take under 18.5 points in the first half. That one is $1.83 on Ladbrokes and on Neds. All right, moving on. We got the Raiders laying 9.5 points, hosting the Warriors. 44.5 points is the total. Now, this is a very similar one to the Storm Cowboys game in that we've got a home favourite, a big favourite at home that has nothing to play for and is resting troops. And the Raiders don't have anything to play for. They are sitting in 3rd spot currently. They can't go up to 2nd, and they can't get booted out of the top 4 unless, the Rabbitohs win by 40, I think, and the Manly win by 50, and the Raiders lose by 50. So the Raiders know what they're doing here. They're resting Nickel Clockstad, who's just gotten a new contract. Good on him, because he's been one of their best this season. They're resting Rapana, they're resting Soliola, and they're resting John Bateman. So the Raiders, in my opinion, are doing the smart thing here. They can't move up or down. They're keeping their troops healthy for the finals. So we know what the Raiders are doing here. They're not coming in here necessarily trying to get the win. Sure, they'll still try, but they're not fielding a full-strength team. On the other hand, we've got the Warriors. We know that they're completely out of it. And, sure, there's a chance that the Warriors come in here and give zero effort whatsoever. Certainly a chance. Always a chance with the Warriors. But I think they will show up in this one. They've had a pretty bad season, a pretty embarrassing season. But the reason I think they do show up against this Raiders team is if we remember back to round 20 in Auckland, the Raiders absolutely thumped them 46 points to 12. So I think that's motivation enough to take the double digits here with the Warriors. I think they do show up and against a full strength Raiders side. I think that they can cover the line, and I would not be surprised if the Warriors win this one. We're taking Warriors plus 10.5. That one is $1.84 in the Sportsbet other markets. We're going to take the Warriors over 6.5 points in the first half. That one is $1.95 on Bet365. And we're going to take neither team to 30. That one's $1.92 on Sportsbet. Oh, John Karen Diamond, you've got dinner. Mate, why are you having dinner? Oh, I guess it's a regular, normal time for dinner, but you should have more important things like watching the pod. Anyway, we'll see you after dinner, mate. Next up, the Doggies, plus 4 points hosting the Broncos. 36.5 points is the total. Another one of those games where, neither team does not need the win. The Broncos are locked into a 7th or 8th spot. They can't move up to 6th, and they can't fall out of the 8. They're going to play the Eels or Manly, I guess, in the first round of the finals. The Bulldogs aren't coming in full strength here. They lost Dallin Watene-Zelezniak and Kerrod Holland for this clash. But look, the Bulldogs have been very solid, and despite losing last week, they've put in, they've probably been playing at a top 8 level, throughout the last 2.5 months of the season. I know that the Broncos are sitting in 7th spot at the moment, but, I would say that, the Broncos haven't necessarily played better than the Bulldogs over the last 2 months or so. So look, not to say that these teams are even teams. The Broncos are the better team here. But the Bulldogs are at home. Last home game, obviously, of the season. They're catching 4 points. And I think I know what I'm going to get out of the Bulldogs here. I'm going to get a full effort. They're going to be putting their body on the line. They've had a solid end to the season. I do expect 100%. And I do expect all the troops to go 100% because they won't be playing next week. On the other hand, I expect a good performance from the Broncos. But in saying that, they have nothing to play for. They don't improve their position on the ladder if they do win this one. And you always got to think in the back of your head, do you want to be preserving your body for finals? So, look, this one, I kind of know what I'm getting out of the Bulldogs. I don't know what I'm getting out of the Broncos. And even if I get a 100% effort from both teams, I still do like catching the points with the home dog in the last game of the season. So, look, we're taking 3 best bets for now. We're going to make ourselves a mechanical plus 6 on the Bulldogs. Ends up being $1.80. We're going to do it by putting 58% of our stake on the Bulldogs plus 6.5 points. That is $1.72 on Neds. I would play that bet by myself if you could. That's a very, very solid line. And we're going to put 42% of our stake on the Bulldogs plus 4.5 points. That is $1.90 on Neds. Going to take the Bulldogs plus 2.5 points in the first half. That's $1.82 on Bet365. And staying on Bet365, we're going to take the Bulldogs to score over 14.5 points. That is $1.80. Alrighty, let's move on to another meaningless game of the weekend. Titans plus 2.5 points hosting the Dragons. 42.5 points is the total. Well, these two teams met a few weeks back. I think it would have been week 20 or 21 maybe. And that was when, the Titans had just come out and said, look, we've been the shittest team in the comp. We've put up shit heap week after week after week. And we are going to put in 100% for the remainder of the season. They proceeded to let in 40 points against the Dragons, and I don't think have lost by, single digits since. So, look, I have absolutely no faith in the Titans whatsoever. But in saying that, and I've been saying this for a while now, but if there's any fucking game, that the Titans are going to get up for, it's got to be your last game at home in front of the home fans that have put up with absolute filth for the entire year. The issue is that the Dragons are better. They just are. I get that the Titans are going to be out for revenge, whatever, but, we've been trying to find reasons why the Titans are going to put in a great performance week after week. You're playing the ladder-leading Storm, you're playing the Roosters, you're playing Big Brother Broncos. Each time they have laid a steaming pile of shit on the field. So, look, as much as I think that the Titans are probably the side here catching points at home, and I do expect an effort from them, there's just as much chance that the Dragons just absolutely roll them. Exactly what happened at Jubilee Stadium, 4 or 5 weeks ago when they put 40 on them. So, no idea what to do with this one. I would think overs, but once again, it's one of those games where it's at night time, not during the day on the weekend. So you don't love overs as much when, it's a night game rather than day. Next up, one game that is very, very meaningful. The Tigers plus 2 points at home hosting the Sharkies. 40.5 points is the total. So this is the one game of the week where, while this is obviously the most important game in terms of top 8, top 4 considerations, the equation is easy for both of these teams. You win and you're in. It still amazes me that the Sharks, have left it till the last game to see if they can actually make the top 8, because they, as I said, when they're full strength, they do deserve to be in the 8. But, I also think that the Tigers have, played in a way that they deserve to be in the 8 as well. So it's unfortunate that both teams actually, are not going to be full strength or at least carrying niggling injuries into this one. Moses Mbye has the hip flexor injury, and Robbie Farah has the fucking fractured tibia. So they're both named on the reserves, but whether or not they play is yet to be seen. And look, even if they do play, they aren't going to be 100%, I'll tell you that much. But it's the same thing on the Sharks side. Sean Johnson named, but is he going to be 100% if he plays? Probably not. Flanagan named in the reserves. So a lot up in the air for this one. And like I said with the previous players, if Flanagan and Moylan play, they probably won't be 100% either. So, look, the only thing that we've taken at the moment is the under. Because despite all this injury news and all this kind of stuff, what I can guarantee is that both sides will be completely up for this one, especially early on, especially in the first half, because the top 8 spot is up for grabs here. So I do expect full effort from both teams. Generally, when you have full effort from both teams in a very meaningful game, the game does trend under because both teams actually try on defense. We know how good the Tigers' defense is. The Sharks are decent. And, if a couple of these players get ruled out before game time, that's only a good thing because most of them are better in attack than defense. So I think it'll add to our unders play. At the moment, we've just got the one play. We're taking under 3.5 tries in the first half. That is $1.85 on Bet365. I think that's the only one out there in the marketplace. So I really do like that bet. And the last game of the round, another meaningless game. The Panthers minus 2.5 points, hosting the Knights. 42.5 points is the total. Well, this is crazy. I mean, both of these teams, 6 weeks ago, looked like they were going to make finals. And, not contend for a premiership necessarily, but, certainly would have had finals hopes 2 months ago, and how things have changed. Look, honestly, there might be 80 points in this game. It's on a Sunday afternoon, beautiful sunny day, fine weather at Panther Stadium. And, it's one of those ones where this line's telling us that the Panthers are equal to the Knights with 2.5 point home field advantage. I do think that the Panthers are the more talented team. So I think that their roster construction is better. And you know what? This Knights side, yeah, sure, maybe I get a full effort from them. But honestly, I have not seen enough here, and it could just be, one of those games where the Knights absolutely fold. They have shown that they can do that down the stretch, losing their coach, all this kind of stuff. Maybe they are just completely done for the season. But look, even if they do try in this one, I still do think that, there could be a lot of points in this one. And I do back if, both teams are throwing it around and throwing caution to the wind and, all that kind of stuff. I do still back the Panthers to be able to beat the Knights in a shootout. So, at home, I always, at home in a game that's meaningless for both teams, I do always trust the home team a little bit more because, if they get up, the crowd will be fucking, cheering them on. And it's easier to get deflated and drop your head and sort of give up in a meaningless game if you are the away team. So, look, there is a chance that this happens to the Knights in this one. So I like overs and I like the Panthers. We've got 3 best bets for now. We are making ourselves a mechanical Panthers minus 2 points at $1.84. And the way we're doing this one, it's actually money back if they win by 1 as well as 2. We're going to do it by putting 57% of our stake on the Panthers to win. That's $1.75 on Neds. And 43% of our stake on the Panthers minus 2.5 points. That is $1.95 also on Neds. The Panthers to score over 21.5 points. That is $1.89 on Bet365. And the Panthers to score over 3.5 tries is $1.85 on Sportsbet. Sam, the Panthers team total. I'm just trying. Oh, yes, you are correct. I think I've got those mixed up. All right, guys. So if you're looking at the graphic right now, Panthers over 21.5 points. Let me just check my... Yeah, I must have written it down wrong, actually. Yeah, Panthers over 21.5 is on Sportsbet. And Panthers over 3.5 tries, I'm pretty sure, is on Bet365. Have I just mixed those around? Maybe I have. Maybe I haven't. Maybe someone can let us know in the comments there. But either way, yeah, Panthers over 21.5 points is definitely on Sportsbet. And I think the over 3.5 tries is on Bet365. Maybe someone can confirm. That's going to do it, guys. Sorry. Okay, there we go. All right. Apparently over 21.5 and over 3.5 tries are both on Sportsbet, which is good. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it. We will be posting all these along with any other best bets that we do give out in the Tripod app tomorrow at around midday. So make sure you're in the Tripod app for that one. And as Jacob said, make sure you're in our group, Tripod Punters Tips Forum. There is a link in the description to this video. We're going to have some exciting news and an exciting competition where you can win some money coming up over the weekend. So we will be posting that in the group and in the app. So make sure you stay tuned for that one. And we'll catch you guys Sunday after the games to wrap up what was the last weekend of the season and hopefully our 4th winning weekend in a row. Also, make sure you're in the app and in the group because we will be breaking down some NFL this year. We always do NFL betting every year. We're not sure when our first podcast will be. Hopefully it will be this week. We're pretty sure it will be maybe tomorrow night, maybe Friday night. But make sure you're in the group and in the app because we will give you ample notice for when our first NFL pod will be. Should be exciting. A lot of sport coming up. Going to be an absolute cracker. Thanks for tuning in once again, guys. And we will catch you Sunday night and possibly earlier than that for the NFL pod. But we'll let you know. See you later.